Well, cool. So, like I was looking, and or you live in Arlington, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Arlington, Texas. I lived in Dallas for about 4 or 5 years. I remember as a kid going to Six Flags and the Ranger games and all that stuff. So, that's
Yeah.
Arlington, right? That's
You
Arlington.
know right where I'm at.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, are you originally from there? And yeah, tell me about that. Tell me kind of a little bit about yourself.
Sure, yeah. I'm originally from Atlanta, so I grew up in hot Atlanta with lots of friends and family. And then I moved here in 2003, I believe it was. And just my husband's family was here, so we wanted the country life instead of the city life. So we came to Texas, and then found out that the country life was great, but you can't really work in the country. So, and believe it or not, I couldn't find a job because no one would hire me because I was overqualified, and it was the silliest thing I've ever dealt with in my life. Um,
Even back then, huh? I mean, that's kind of what people say now, right? Golly.
mhm.
And so were you a tax preparer at that time as well? Because that's what you've done that for 25 years, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing bookkeeping, and taxes. I wasn't an enrolled agent yet, so I couldn't do the representation, but but yeah, I was in the taxes for sure.
I can tell by seeing some of your videos, you know your stuff.
I would hope so after 25 years.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I do a bit of the, I kind of do my coaching thing, and I've been doing a lot of the self-help kind of things, and a lot of that rolls into the finances, and the tricky stuff that you do with like buying art and let it appreciate, and then you use it to, the depreciation. I actually have a large rental equipment business that I'm in with a big group of people, and then I use the depreciation, the bonus depreciation, to kind of offset my taxes and everything. So I know probably just a bit enough to be more dangerous than the average guy, I'd say.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, God, I mean, I have so many questions. Um, is there anything in particular that you want to share about you or your story or about taxes or anything that you want to make sure that we cover today sometime?
Sure. Yeah. So just to kind of finish my story a little bit, I so moved to Texas and started a business or continue my business here. But you're basically starting over in a new state, so you might as
Right.
well say starting over. Um, and um, and so I did that and moved to Arlington. Well, actually, I was traveling back and forth from the country to Arlington because I still wanted that country life. Um, and then my husband passed away in 2009, and I became a widow. I mean, 2019. I'm so sorry. Um,
Oh,
and
yes.
became a widow.
Okay.
So that's what's kind of taken me to my next journey. So losing him was a journey within itself of trying to figure out, dealing with grief and the loss, and then also finding my new self, and things like that. And in doing that, I actually got really sick, and was in ICU the beginning of last year.
Oh, no.
Um, and so, but I'm doing great now. So good. It's all good. But and that during that time, I I had a little chat with Jesus, and he was like, I told him, it's like, if this is all you got for me, like, I'm done. Or if you got something better planned for me, like, show me what it is, and I'm on it. And that's exactly what he did. He said, you need to go help the other widows. You're finally coming to a good place in my life with my grief,
Yeah.
and to help other widows, get to the same place, because everyone's journey is different. And anyway, so that's what led me on to the coaching side of things. And so I love my taxes. I love doing taxes. I still enjoy that. And I just want to take that knowledge and help widows and anybody else I can help.
That your story rings so true with me. I don't know if read about me or my story or anything, but I've had cancer 3 times, and I kind of came to the same place that you did. It's like, hey, do I have something left to do? And I think that I do. And mine is with people that have cancer, and so yours is helping, widowed ladies with taxes and things like that. I mean, I can't think of a more noble thing to do, right? Um, And I saw a couple of your your previous YouTube's podcast things. Tell me, can you share a little bit about a few of the things, right, that that happen with you, and some of the things that happen with people coming after you, and your money, like I just do you know what I'm saying? Like the people at the funeral home and this and then that. Can you talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind, and share a little bit of kind of how people would deal with that, or how to the options, how to navigate that.
Sure. Yes. Unfortunately, widows are like the number one person that people try to go after. They see us as lonely and vulnerable, and we just got a big insurance check or something, which not all of us got, but they assume we did. So yeah, the funeral homes come at you. Your financial planners come at you. Everyone. I mean, real estate agents want you to sell your house. You get it from all directions, and just everyone is just they want their piece of that check. So they just try to get you and manipulate you into spending your money in there and giving it to them. So my advice is just to, just don't make any rush decisions. Take your time. Do not let anyone force you to do something that you do not want to do. And to really think on it and pray on it before you make any big decisions in your life. Yeah.
That's simple and good advice. I remember that you were saying, like, that at the funeral home, even they were like, "Hey, your husband would want this kind of a casket," and you're like, how would you know that? It just seems really, to me, very insensitive, really,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah. So I don't know if you have anything to comment about that particular situation.
Oh yeah. Well, in my situation, my husband was cremated, but they wanted. Well, are you sure he wanted to be cremated? Are you sure you don't want this big, beautiful golden casket for him instead? And then we have a cemetery plot you can buy for it, and they just rolled out the red carpet to spend, trying to tell me how my husband felt, right? And
Right.
that's where it's like that's when I was like, hold on, everybody just needs to back up and give me the
Right.
space to just to make these decisions. It's not your choice.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
so
Yes.
yeah, that's a big thing that happens, and that's you're dealing with that within days after you lose your husband, not weeks or months or years. So they're getting you while you're very vulnerable, and it's to me that's just not cool.
I agree with you. I mean, for me, it's a lot of kind of the mixture of the healthcare and business. It is kind of the thing that I have a big friction with.
Hmm.
Um, and so to me, you start to kind of move into that thing about, business is business, right? But there's ethics, and there's humanity, and there's integrity, and things that I feel like a lot of people, they just don't care, right? They really don't care. They don't care about you. Okay. They don't care about the next person. I kind of think they don't even care about themselves, because if they did, they wouldn't act like that.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother show.
I can join you on that one too, actually, because of the health issues I've dealt with as well. And yeah, yeah, don't get me started on the doctors and healthcare system.
Right. Yeah. Now, were you in Texas, and did you have your health care in Texas, and did you have insurance, and things like that?
No, actually, no, I didn't have insurance. It came out of nowhere, and went to the ER, and now I have a big tax hospital bill to go along with it. So
Oh my
yeah,
God.
but now
Anyway,
I have insurance, and now I'm taking steps to rectify that situation. But
right.
fortunately, I had to go through it to learn what I needed to do.
It is what it is. I just think in life, like, we never stop learning.
Mhm.
And if you do think that, and you get a bit cocky, you'll get knocked off your high horse pretty quick.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Golly. For me, like, I've had some pretty serious stuff, with my health. It was 2019, 20, and 21. I got cancer, like, each year, one per year for 3 years. Yeah, it was really rough. It was really rough. And I'll tell you, at the end of 21, I got declared cancer free, so to speak. And it really probably took me, I'd say, a year and a half, probably 2 years, to really kind of get myself back.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I went to counseling. I mean, I'm not afraid to say that I went to counseling every week. I went to cancer counseling for a long, long time, and that kind of rolled into like regular counseling, if that's what you want to call it, because it's they, when you go talk to the counselor, right? They always want to talk about, let's peel the onion, let's peel the onion, and keep peeling it, and it always gets back to something, and it's something prior, right? It's something in your past, so to speak, and yeah. So, golly, how long do you think it kind of would take somebody in your situation to kind of say, hey, you know what? Maybe you take 3 months before you try to make any decisions, or 6 months. I'm just kind of curious of what you think.
Yeah. Well, I was told, and I feel like even after going through it all, it's about accurate. Is I would say about a year. I mean, some people are ready to move and do things, and some people just aren't. So it really, obviously it depends on the individual person, but I say a year because that gives you enough time to kind of feel your place, know where you're at, or maybe a little bit more than you did at the
What?
beginning, right? And then
Yeah.
that way you don't have regrets. You can still do it whenever. It's not like you're going to put it off if it's a great decision, but or whatever. It's still going to happen if it's a good decision, right?
Right.
If you just hold on it for a minute. And so that's just my recommendation. So you don't live with regrets, because those are always,
Yeah.
horrible to deal with.
Yeah, that's me. I usually hold on to something a little longer than I should, because once I kind of decide I'm over and I'm done and I'm going on, I'm done. I don't want to look back and regret that. And some of these people we're talking about, like, I don't know how to go to sleep at night. Like when I lay my head down at night, I think about my day, or maybe tomorrow or whatever, and I don't like feeling shitty about myself when I go to sleep. So
No.
I guess some people, I honestly think there are just shells of people that really, they don't have an inner dialogue, and they really don't do that anymore. They just kind of operate almost like, well, robots, so to speak. Um, Gosh, but yeah, I think that's good. If you can put it off, right, and wait, say a year or so before you have to make any major decisions, like moving, or so big thing, big life change things. Maybe I think is probably just a reasonable kind of practical suggestion. And yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
And not everybody can do it. Some widows, they don't have the money to continue to pay for their house, so they're forced to make a rash decision, unfortunately. And you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, if you can take the time, that's definitely the key there, I think.
yeah, 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 yeah. Cool. Well, gosh, do you have children, or any? You have children? Okay.
Yeah, I got a son who's 19 and a daughter who's 22.
Oh, okay. Wow. So you pretty much raised them from teenagers.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, 12 and
Well,
15.
yeah. So golly, they were teens when your father, I mean your husband passed away. Good
Hmm.
gracious. Okay. And do they still live around close to you? Are you guys close and all that?
Yeah, they still live with me. I'm still raising them, so to speak.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I don't want to throw them to the wolves yet. I still have a little bit of anxiety about that. So, unfortunately.
No doubt, right? Because once they go, they kind of go, right? They're out of the
Mhm.
house. I mean, I went to college when I was 18, and kind of in my situation, I came back to live with my folks in 2021, because, well, they gave me a year. And, well, they were wrong. I'm still here. Yep, glad to just be here talking to you, really. I mean,
Mhm.
another day on this planet is a blessing, right?
Yes, sir.
Gosh. So, God, tell me a little bit about tax planning, and tell me some of the stuff that you just start with when you tell, like somebody that's brand new to taxes and some of those things. Maybe pretend like I'm just somebody that you've never, a new client, and how would you deal with that? I would love for you to just kind of take me through that. I think that you have a wealth of knowledge and wisdom on this subject, and I'm sure that I'm going to push this out and try to hopefully some people will come and talk to Bass Tax, man.
That's right. Call Bass to save your ass.
Hey, seriously, I love it. I love it. I mean, it works and it's true, and you'll never forget that. So it's good. It's good. I hope you like my little a few of my little video kind of things I did to promote the show with the
Oh
video.
yeah, I loved them. They were awesome.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool. So, anyways, go ahead. You got the floor.
Yeah, so my specialty is really small businesses um, and small business owners. So that's um, so when people come to me, usually they are either in trouble because they've already created a mess, or they just started it and they need help and they want to go down the right pathway.
Okay.
So yeah, so I kind of cater to whatever the need of the client is. So we go through the interview and I figure out what they need and what their goals are, and what they're trying to do with their business, and then lead them down the path of the best success. So
Right. So, if there's a new guy, right, like me, I started like 2 or 3 LLCs last year. As a matter of fact, what would you tell me about some of that kind of stuff?
yeah, so I would say three's of quite a few businesses,
No
but I'm
doubt.
sure that you're going to do great in all of them. um, and I'd say as far as my what I would recommend is obviously meeting with your tax professional and discussing what you're trying to create with these businesses so you can get the proper structure, or whether you want to have one main one and have your subsidiaries can't talk with that, or just the different structures that you can do. Obviously I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give you legal advice on it, but I can definitely tell you what the tax consequences of everything are. So
Right. And I think you're really good at saying, hey, these are probably the questions you want to ask.
mhm.
Right? Yeah.
Mhm.
When you talk to the accountant, because you're not an accountant, but you do people's books and you make sure that their numbers are correct and stuff like it. Now, do you use software and some things like that? And can you manage? You have multiple clients that once you bring them on, it kind of what do you do? Do you click into like their bank accounts and some of that kind of stuff, and then it kind of does the stuff, but you manage it and watch it and make sure, right?
Oh yeah. QuickBooks is one of the most popular platforms that most people come to me with. Either they're using it already or they're wanting to start with it. So I get them connected with that. Either I train them to use it properly, or sometimes they'll hire me or my team. I do have 2 employees
Okay.
that do most of the bookkeeping and stuff for me. So a lot of times, a lot of times I'm the front person and I do all the talking to everyone, but then they work in the background.
Okay.
So that way I can handle multiple entities, multiple people, and all that stuff, and the bookkeeping through tax time and all your different flows of taxes and bookkeeping and all that fun stuff.
Right. So the accountants, they usually love you, I imagine, because when your client goes to present their number, their books and their numbers and to the accountant, they're organized, they're good, they're beautiful. They just have to take that number and put it in the box, kind of thing, so to speak. I know it's not that easy, but when I do mine, I mean, I do most of my personal book because my stuff's not that big. Um, but that's what I try to do, right? I'm just like, I try to get it to where it's like, hey, put this number in this box, and then and then they love you, right? Kind of so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Or they find out they didn't do a very good set of books and that they need some training. So that happens too sometimes. Or they're not getting the best tax situation for them because they just did everything really quick on a spreadsheet and didn't necessarily look at all the different things they could do. So and that's where I come in to nudge you and to pick your brain a little bit on where you can find other things.
Right. So you'll even go through stuff and kind of say, hey, look, you could use some tax savings here. You could use your part of your home as an office or your vehicle to do a little bit of, work, this and that kind of stuff. Is that
Mhm.
kind of on the right track there? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So, like, what do you think would be the top couple of things that people that come to you, in the beginning that are doing their books, right? What are the couple of things that people mess up or that you have to say, hey, like this isn't something you're not doing this right, or we need to correct this kind of thing.
Let's see. Yeah, that does happen quite often. Not always, but sometimes. A lot of times, like lawyers will lead them down an avenue of creating all these entities when they really don't need all these entities, or it's going to cost them so much more to pay for all the bookkeeping, taxes, and all that fun stuff. So you have to watch out, for the greedy lawyers, is what I like to call them. Not that they all are, but a lot of them they'll tell you need 5 different entities and you really only needed 2. Because they make more money at that. And
Yeah.
that's, a lot of times that happens, or they don't have an entity yet and they're just operating as a sole proprietor. That happens a lot too. And then, excuse me, excuse me. And then I can help them get everything set up to stay a sole proprietor, or if they grow big enough, then we move them on to corporations and other different things. But yeah, so it kind of depends on where the client's at when they come in. But yeah, it can be all over the place.
Right.
With this reading, yeah.
Right. And so, would you advise somebody, they're a small business and then, they're kind of making some consistent income. And I hear like if it's about $50,000, then you say, oh, well, maybe you want to look at being, incorporating an S corp and things like that. You kind of advise in that manner as well.
Oh yes, definitely. And that's it kind of depends on your expenses against that, but yeah, if you look at your net income and that's what you kind of base on. Oh, do we want to stay here? Do we want to go over here? And even just for another layer of protection sometimes. It's good to do that stuff too. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. When people come to you and their stuff's all screwed up, what are a couple of the things that they really come to you about? Like, oh man, I know I really messed this up. How do they really step in it? I mean, I've got an idea of one that I'm careful of, but I'm wondering what you're the professional, so I wonder what you think people come to you about. They really have screwed it.
yeah, so the main one I get most of the time is people that haven't filed for several years. They're getting IRS letters and they just haven't filed, or they've gotten 1099s on something and the IRS says, hey, you owe 20 grand when it really is probably 1,000, because they base it off of your gross income. So the IRS likes to scare you. So that's the number one, is just catching up on taxes. And then the other one is collections. They owe them a lot of money for 1 year or several years, depending on what it is. And then I help them when to file an offer or do something to negotiate with the IRS. And then I help with that too. But definitely back taxes is the biggest thing, or just the new businesses trying to get started and want to set things up properly, from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah. So you'll call and kind of liaise with the IRS and you kind of talk to them and negotiate. This person can make a reasonable payment at this amount. Like you're asking them to do that, they can't do that, but they could do this, and you kind of the speak, so to say,
Yeah.
to be able to talk to them and get somebody in a position where they can reasonably, monthly get themselves out of a situation they got themselves into, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. That plus I also am in a layer between them where the IRS has to contact me first, and they'll contact them as well with letters. But as far as they have to go through me to get to them, to the client, and that's another layer of protection that I give clients.
Oh wow, that's cool. That's
so
cool.
when they come in saying I owe 100 grand and they're on my butt, what do I do? And I'm like, well, you need to sign here, and they'll call me first, and that almost sells it right there.
Goodness gracious. Without getting into too much specifics, I just wonder, do you have a couple crazy stories that you could tell us, or like one that was like, oh my gosh, this guy came to me and it was like this?
Yeah, I have one. So I don't know why this one was the top one to come to mind, but it was. But I had one client come in that was his son had committed suicide, but it was because he had owed the IRS a lot of money. Very sad situation, because if he'd have just gotten help, he wouldn't have had to go to those extremes to deal with things. But it was a simple mess that could have been easily fixed. And the guy was in construction. He did, accounting was not his thing. The IRS was not his thing. And instead of, going to someone for help, he just kind of panicked and dealt with things. It was the saddest thing I've dealt with. But at the same time, his father has been the best client ever, because he's so appreciative of us fixing it after the fact and everything, so he wasn't dealing with it as well.
Right.
So anyways, I don't know why that was the story that came to
No,
mind.
that's okay. No, that's okay.
But it is,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's one of the craziest ones that it was just like, my heart was just torn in pieces because, had he just made that phone call before he made that decision, so.
So did his father kind of inherit it? Well, inherit all of his debt and his problems, so to speak, or like?
Well, not really, because it was a business, but at the same
Okay,
time, he was a good person and he wanted to settle it properly and he wanted to make it right regardless.
I got you.
So that was what got me the most, was I couldn't believe he was, because after we explained, the situation and that he really didn't have to do anything once we told him that it wasn't there anymore. But he was like, no, I want to make it right. And so we that's what we did.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. Um, well, if you don't mind, can you tell me a little bit about, like, you call yourself the Widow Money Coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just so cool. Um, Tell me a little bit about how you do that, and I mean, we talked a little bit about kind of how you came to that.
Mm-hmm.
If you decide that you wanted to be the widow coach, how do you find widows, and do they come to you? I'm just curious about that.
Sure. Well, yeah, so I was doing a bunch of healing on my own, just trying to get over being a widow. So I learned many skills during this process of
Okay.
trying to improve myself. And in doing that, I realized how many more women could use my help, to get through the process. So I help just with, pen and paper with finances, but I also do energy healing and
Oh,
and do other things like that. So I I'm trying to get out there too. I've only had a few that I've coached, because I just started that this year. And so, but I'm just trying to do, put out my TikToks and my Instagrams and my Facebooks and stuff and try to, and I've gotten over like 2,000 followers. So I feel like I'm going to start some stuff this year and maybe we'll get some more clients. So.
I have no doubt from the videos I've seen that, hey, people, the people that need to find you, they're going to find you. I think that, probably by the end of this year, you're gonna be inundated. I'm just sure of it. I can tell. So just keep doing those videos, okay? And they're funny and they're good. You know what? There's truth under there, and people see it and they know it, and I see it. So I know they're kind of funny. Dog on there, and the thing about, like, can't blame your dog, but hey,
Yeah.
but like, it's kind of, but people see that, they get it, and I was really excited, that when you booked to come on today and everything. I thought, this is going to be too cool, man. I mean, I feel like I'm taking stuff personally for me about kind of act stuff and some things like that. That, like, I better check on, just make sure that I'm in line about that kind of stuff. Um,
No, I appreciate that so much.
yeah,
And I also, my other thing I didn't bring up or
yeah,
earlier when we were talking, was that I do have a chapter in a book.
yeah.
So I became a best-selling author last year with this book. It is 18 different stories of different women, and their struggles and how they overcame them. And then obviously I talked about becoming a widow and my process of healing, in that. So that was another thing that I accomplished last year. That was awesome. And I feel like that chapter is going to help other widows to see, where they might be able to help heal themselves.
Yes. Bring that book back up for me. Yeah. Now tell it. Now what's it's
Right. Oh
backwards.
yeah, it is backwards. It's Unbreakable Spirit is the name of it.
Okay.
Um, and it's
Where
18 stories of feminine resilience, blessings, and renewal. And
and
then
where can you buy it? Where can you get it?
Amazon. You can get on Amazon, or if you follow me somewhere, I have a link tree that I can sell it to you too for a little bit cheaper. But Amazon's the easiest and quickest because everybody knows that.
Okay, cool. But let me ask you something, because I've done a few of those books myself as well, right? I mean, I'm 3-time author in a series very similar to that. Now if they buy the book from you, you get all the money, right?
Mhm.
On your link tree. So we want them to go to your link tree is
Yeah.
all. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I mean, like, let's be honest, right? We
Yeah.
want them to. So, if you give me that link when I post this out, I'll put that out. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. And I'd
Yeah.
love to do that and support you on that. Now your website, I remember you saying that it got hacked or something.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
tell us about that because, I want to know, make sure that people can get a hold of you, or how do they get a hold of you?
Yes. So that was a crazy situation because I've had my website. It was basstax.com, which was easier than any of my other websites I have now. But I used Green Geeks hosting for my website, and somehow they allowed someone to purchase it, or not even purchase it. They said they stole it somehow. Um, and then all of a sudden I went to renew, and it was like they were wanting me to pay 10 grand to get it back. And I was like, well, you can keep it because I'm not paying that kind of money. That's crazy. It's like holding me
That's
hostage to
a
get my
scam.
stuff back, you know?
That
And
is a scam, man.
mm-hmm.
God.
And Green Geeks, like, it's like, yeah, we watched it happen. We can tell you what happened, but it's not our fault. And I'm like, but yeah, it is. So anyway, so I'm trying to talk to lawyers and see if there's something I can actually do about it. But I just went ahead and said, okay, let's not let that stop me from what I'm doing and just keep going.
You know
Um,
what? Good for you. Heck yeah. I mean, yeah. So, what's the best way for people to get
yeah.
in touch with you? Because I know that your website's kind of down right now, so to speak, right?
Yeah, that one's down, but you can go to basstaxservice.com, and
Okay.
that one is active. And that one has everything on there from the taxes to enrolled agent and all the fun stuff. So that's where you can find me, or you can email me at Cathy@basstaxrelief.com. And that's where I'm going to with everything. And through the coaching, I'm getting it through the relief. Just fits better
Okay.
with coaching, I think.
Okay.
So
Cool. BassTaxRelief.com. And
yes,
then
or Bass
Cathy.
Tax Service. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. And then, yeah, but your email is Cathy@BassTaxService.com.
Or no, the email's relief. Sorry.
Okay. I got it backwards.
Yeah.
I got it backwards.
But that's okay. Do one of them, you'll find me. Or just Google my name and you'll find me.
Okay. Okay. What's the best way? What's the best thing to do if people like want to Google you and Google your name to find you? Since I've kind of messed up the whole.
That's okay. If you just look up Bass Tax Service or Catherine Bass, I'll pop up
Okay.
somewhere in there.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then because that's my Google and everything's through Bass Tax Service. That
Yeah.
website is active, so that one shows up everywhere. Um,
Cool.
and then but anyway, so you'll also have my contact information from Google as well. So
Awesome. Awesome.
I got to
Um,
clear that up so it's not so confusing. But yes,
well,
that's how we do
right.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Because we don't want to make it hard on people. If it's too hard, they just move on. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like you get like 4 or 5 seconds with somebody online, and if you don't get that window, you're just, well, never again kind of thing. Um, if you don't mind, I'm kind of interested. If you don't mind talking about your energy healing stuff just a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, it's called the peace process. Is what is where I learned it from. Christian Michelson is
Okay.
where I learned it from, and where I become trained through him. And yeah, so I just work on, which is just we figure out what's holding us back, and we just work on healing that in our bodies until we can not have that problem anymore.
Now, do you use anything? Do you use any frequency, or do you use any bowls, or any of that? Because sometimes people
Mhm.
energy healing is big. I mean, people could use crystals, or I just think there's so much with frequency stuff. I've been studying that quite a bit, and
Mhm.
like different, they have like the angel frequency and stuff like that. I think that's a little bit silly, but I do think that there are certain frequencies that we operate on. Even like the church, for example, that we used to,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. No, mine's just more, we're looking to God and in our hearts, and that's how we heal through that. But yeah, no, I love all the crystals and the bells and the whistle and the bowls and all that stuff too. But that's not part of what I do. I simplify it down. It's kind of like just money and you, and
Okay.
that's it. So.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Hey, that's awesome. Is there anything that you want to share or anything we haven't covered that you'd like to talk about?
Um, Well, the only thing that comes to mind is that at some point I am going to be creating a book of my own, like Unbreakable Spirit, for widows, and just get a bunch of widows to write chapters for me, and and then they can become best-selling authors as well, or however it goes. But I want to get the. I'm also starting a podcast that I'm hoping to get started next month. I'm kind of laying getting all the groundwork done now, and just do interviews of different widows and sharing their stories, and just building a community to be there for each other. This world is just lacking and dealing with grief. It's like Americans just want to shove it away and pretend like it's not happening, and
Yep.
that's not how we heal.
Yep.
We got to kind of, you don't have to face it head on, but but you do need to work on a process to get through things. Otherwise, bad things can happen,
Yeah.
or whatever. So,
Yeah.
um,
People are there. People are there for you, right? I mean, there's the sharks that out there we kind of talked about, but there are people out there that have good hearts like you,
mhm.
and that are genuine and that are real and that mean what they say and do what they say. And I see that in you. If I can help you on anything that I'm doing, please, reach out. I would love to just, whatever way I can do to be friends with you. Um,
Well, I appreciate that so much. I might
yeah.
do that because I liked your videos you created. So
Uh,
I might need some help doing
no
that.
problem. Hey, no problem. Like I've probably I've guested on about 60 podcasts, telling my story, and working on a year ago, I started my own thing, and have been doing that. But hey, like what I can say is you're on the right path. Just, hey, every time you can get on, get on. Any show you can get on and just tell your thing and do your stuff and talk about your book like you're doing and do your thing. And you know what? Just be you. You're awesome. I mean, I think you're fun and you're cool. And you could choose to be sad and mad and angry and depressed and hateful and all those things if you wanted. But
Mhm.
you've chosen another path. And I try to do that most days too, right? And I feel like that's kind of why we're in the same path, so to speak, kind of in the same stream, or whatever you want to say.
Yes.
And I always tell the small people that I'm with, I'm like, hey, us little guys, we gotta stick together.
Mhm.
And because the big boys, like, they don't care about us, right?
Nope.
um, and I mean, you do small business, so, and you know what? I really think that's what makes the world go round. I had a small business in New Zealand, so I know. I had 15 or 20 families that depended on me for their Christmas presents, and I took that. It was a lot of pressure, but I loved it, and I did it, and I did my thing, and that was then, and so I'm on to doing what I'm doing here now. So
That's great. Yeah, you're doing it. I did stalk you a little bit and watch some of your stuff.
perfect,
So, so yes,
good.
I applaud you too for all that you do, and thank you
Uh,
for what you do as well.
hey, thank you so much. That really means a lot. Well, hey, like, I don't want to keep you, and I feel like we've almost, we've gone, I don't know, 40, 50 minutes or something. So if you're good, I'm good. And hey, I'll let you have the last word, and you can close us out at whatever you want to say.
All right. Well, I think the one thing I forgot to mention earlier is that my podcast is going to be called Widow Confessions. And
Oh,
so I've started Instagram and also a Facebook group for that. So anyone who wants to join and follow, that would be wonderful. And that's what I'm here to do. It's just
cool.
do what I can to help everyone, and and that's what else can we ask for? So.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like my purpose is to help people that have cancer and health issues to get through those, and yours is to. You feel like that your mission now is to help widowed lady, and you'll help me. I mean, you're going to do your tax thing and do that, but you feel like that your calling is that, and it's so noble. I love it. Please, whenever we finish up, please send me an email, send me the links that you want, and when I put this back out, I'll put all those links in there and everything. Okay.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you inviting me to be on and all that good stuff too.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll kind of always close us out like this because this is the Conquerors Crew, and hey, we're here to conquer things. So,
Mhm.
God bless. Godspeed, and never forget that grit don't quit.